Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter 13, text number 13. It doesn't look, it is very powerful, the internet here. Give me a few seconds. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jñeyam yat tat pravakṣyāmi. Just a second here. Internet connection is very, very slow. I'm not able to upload anything. jñātvāmṛtam aśnute anādi mat-param brahma nāsad nāsad ucyate jñeyam yattat pravakṣyāmi jñātvāmṛtam aśnute anādi mat-param brahma nāsad ucyate. Word for word meaning. Jñeyam, the knowable, yat, which, tat, that, pravakṣyāmi, I shall now explain, yat, which, jñātvā, knowing, amṛtam, nectar, aśnute, one taste, anādi, beginningless, mat-param, subordinate to me, brahma, spirit, neither, sat, cause, tat, that, nor, asat, effect, ucyate, is said to be. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Everybody please repeat. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Purport. The Lord has explained the field of activities and the knower of the field. He has also explained the process of knowing the knower of the field of activities. Now he begins to explain the knowable. First the soul and then the super soul. So in this chapter, it's entitled Nature, the Enjoyer, and Consciousness. And in the beginning of the chapter, Arjuna asks 6 questions. Can you still remember that? I will read, because this is all connected. Arjuna said, "Oh my dear Krishna," this is in the first verse, till the 7th. Intelligent question is being asked here by Arjuna. I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of the field, and the knowledge, and the object of knowledge. 6 items here. What is Prakriti? Who is Purusha? The Supreme Lord. What is the field of activities? That means where we are action or doing activities, or also the body. The knower of the field. The knower of the field is the soul and also the super soul. And now we are discussing here the jñeya, the knower of the field. That means in the next few verses after this, we will be discussing the soul and the super soul, the knower. We are the knower of our body, but I don't know what's going on with your mind. Your mind must be, should be here actually, but it could be somewhere else. It could be in Delhi. And Krishna, he knows everyone's field of activities. Everyone. He is the knower of everything. We are the knower, limited as the spirit soul. The knowledge and the object of knowledge. So this 6 items is being questioned by Arjuna. A very intelligent question. According to the Shastra, this is the first qualification of a disciple. He should be inquiring to the spiritual master, because by inquiring, our doubts will be dispelled and we become purified. Our knowledge becomes sharpened and then we become purified. So in the body there are 2 souls, the Atma and Param-Atma. Ultimately, the Atma is the all-knowing living entity. He knows past, present, and future. For us, we may remember a little bit of the past, but not very clearly. And definitely, we don't know what's the future. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Of course, the Shastra can say also what's in the future, what's in the past, and what is right now. That's why the Bhagavad-Gita is very relevant. Millions of years ago, when Lord Krishna says this knowledge to the sun god Vivasvan, and Ikshvaku and Tumanu, and to the disciplic succession, Arjuna also was present, but he is not remembering. He's put into some kind of forgetfulness, even though he's always there. So that is the difference. Krishna, that's why Krishna's body never changes, because he's always knowing, all-knowing. So it says that the body, when utilized for spiritual advancement, is like utilizing our land for the best and most expensive crops that will yield maximum profit. So the body, what we have right now, can be utilized to the best if we understand the nature of the soul, the embodied living being who is within this body, which is more important than the body, the gross body. Prabhupada gave an example, just like you have a cage, a golden cage, and a bird inside. But somehow you're just polishing the cage because it's gold. You want to look it shiny and brilliant and effulgent. But then you forgot to feed the bird. So what is the use of your shining, effulgent cage made of gold, or this body? You polish it, you know, you want to make it younger as possible. But if the purpose of human form of life is not achieved, which is inquiring about the absolute truth, therefore we will miss, as they say, you will miss the train. You will miss the journey. And our journey should be going back home, back to Godhead, not just keep coming back and forth and back and forth. Like samsara, the cycle of repeated birth and death. An intelligent person would like to end the cycle of repeated birth and death. Not just to prolong one's life, because there is 100% fatalities. 100% for sure that we're gonna die. No one remains here alive eternally in this body. Even Hiranyakashipu wanted to remain immortal, but it's not possible. He did all the tricks in the book, all the books rather. He wanted to, like, you know, not die neither night or day, inside or out, in the air, land or water, by any beast or man or any weapons. Still he cannot escape death. So yes, we have to understand the purpose of human form of life. And an example was given also, just like you may have a house and you are the house owner. So which is more important? Is the house or the house owner? He can make so many renovations and constructing or beautifying the house, but if the homeowner forgets to eat also because he's busy fixing up the house, you'll die without making progress in spiritual life. So we will see in the next few verses also the difference between the soul and the super soul, who is the knowable. Jñeyam, they are the knowable. For the soul, it's limited. We can only know what is in my body. Others, it's not possible. Even the parents, they cannot really understand, up to a certain extent, the mind or the likings or the dislikes of the child, but ultimately when the child grows up, it's beyond the perception of the parents. Is that true? Yes or no? You have children, right? In the beginning you may say, oh, he must be hungry. Okay, give him some prasad, something to eat. Oh, must be tired, he needs to sleep. But later on, as the child grows up, it's very difficult to figure out the child. So yes, the soul is like this. But the super soul, he knows everything. Now, he begins, that means Krishna, begins to explain the knowable. First, is the soul, and then the super soul. By knowledge of the knower, both the soul and the super soul, one can relish the nectar of life. Prabhupada says we are small samples of Krishna. Qualitatively, we are the same with Krishna, the living beings, the jivas, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. But the jivas became covered up, having come in contact with the material energy, and therefore we suffer. That forgetfulness means suffering. Now, once we realize, who am I? Who is God? Who is Krishna? What is my relationship with Him? What is the process whereby, if it's Krishna, you can answer the phone? Or your Guru Maharaj, you can answer the phone. Now, you see, if somehow we miss the opportunity to understand who we are, then the purpose of human form of life is a waste. Because this is the best vehicle. The soul has to be... the purpose of human form of life is self-realization. Being parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, mamay vamso jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. We are fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. And therefore, if we can understand ourselves, we can understand also Krishna. This is simultaneously. If we can understand who is Krishna, we can understand who we are also. It's like if you can understand simple, a sample of the whole, you can understand what is the nature of the whole. And similarly, if you can understand, yes, what is the whole, you can understand also what is the small sample. Simultaneously. But our process is that we try to understand also who is Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we try to understand ourselves. Who am I? We are all eternal servants of the Supreme Lord. What is our relationship with Him? Our eternal relationship with Him is to serve the Supreme Lord. It's like Prabhupada gave an example also of a machine. A machine has different parts. Of course, the machine, the parts will only become useful if it is connected with the machine. It's like a screw is useless if it's not being used to connect with the complete whole. So our purpose, even though we're parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, is to reunite with the Supreme Lord. Then we will be happy. Prabhupada gave another example, just like sparks. You know, in the fire, when there's like a bonfire, there are some sparks, and he has the same quality, light and heat. But then, as soon as the sparks is like inches away, it loses the quality of heat and light. But as long as with the fire, acts like a fire also. So similarly, this is the process. As explained, one can relish the nectar of life. What is the nectar of life? The Prabhupada used the word nectar of life, amṛtam. It's like we always want, it's like when there is a feast, a big Maha feast, festival, they will prepare the nectar. Nectar is the best part, right? You know, the drink to wash away the prasadam that you have. Nectar means it's immortal. One can relish the nectar of life. That means even while living with this gross and subtle body that we have, we'll be experiencing ananda, the bliss. And how you experience the bliss? By serving the Supreme Lord and His devotees. Our philosophy is so simple. It's so simple, but again, it is so deep because we have to apply the knowledge that we learn from the sastra, from the guru, from the sadhus, then we will relish the nectar. As explained in the second chapter, the living entity is eternal. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Amongst the unlimited plural living entities, they're eternal. Plural. That means many living entities. There is one singular living entity who maintains everyone. So we have the same nature as the Supreme Lord. But since the body is made of material elements, it doesn't last long. That means even though the body is eternal, but the clothes, Prabhupada mentions also that just like in the material world, the living beings will be given a custom-made body according to the desires and to the activities that they want to perform. So this body is given to me because somehow from the past I have this mentality to fulfill or enjoy the sense objects with my senses, and I have desire that needs to be fulfilled, and only in this body. But the soul is eternal, so my actions, my activities is limited. The activities or actions of the soul is like far more, can be greater than what I can express or experience with this material body. Just like the demigods, they have far superior body than we have, but it is still considered as material. They can travel here and there. It's like yogis. They don't need Sputnik or Apollo 11 or 12, 13. But right now, they want to go to Mars or they want to go to space. The billionaires with the same body, but they may be able to reach, let's say, but they will not last there. Unlike the soul is always eternal, it never changes. So the living entity is like riding on a vehicle here, and a chariot. We are like the passengers of the body. The soul is the passenger of the body. But then one should control one's mind. One's intelligence should be sharpened, and one's ego should be also reestablished, knowingly that he is a servant of Krishna, knowingly that he is a servant of God. For the soul, yes, we are the knower of the body. The super soul, he knows everybody. We are, it says here, secondary proprietor and controller. But the main controller and proprietor is Lord Krishna. It's like when Sanatana Goswami, he contacted this disease on the way to Puri to meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He passed through the forest, and along the forest he contacted some disease that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would like to embrace him. But then Sanatana Goswami says, no, my Lord, please. I am so contaminated. You are all pure. I am contaminated. Please do not touch me. I would actually jump in front of the Ratha Yatra cart because I don't want this body anymore. The Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, no. You are not the owner of this body. You are the second proprietor, but actually, I am the one who is responsible. I am the owner of everybody. He's the Isvara. He's the Supreme Lord. Bhaktaram yagyatapasam. Sarvaloka mahisvaram. He is the proprietor of everything. All the planetary systems and everything that we see and we don't see in this world. So yes, the living entity is eternal. This is also confirmed here. There is no specific date at which the jiva was born, nor can anyone trace out the history of the jivatma's manifestation from the Supreme Lord. But somehow or other, we are in the material world. The material world was created because of the desire of the jivas. It's like a child would like to play and the mother will provide some facilities for the child to play. But the play is mimic or is not real. Mimicry. It's almost like real, but it is not real. We gave that example before. It's like a child would like to cook, but the child may burn himself or herself. So the mother would like to fulfill the desire of the child. Okay, here are your stove, here are your utensils, here are your ingredients, but everything is artificial. But the child, when he started to cook, says, "Oh, I'm also cooking like mommy. I cut the sabji, the ghee is there, Hey, I have my gas stove is there." But actually, is he really cooking? No. Because everything is not false, but it is temporary. So what we have here in the material world is real. This is real, but it is temporary. This can also perish. So yes, somehow or other, we are here in the material world to be happy separate from Krishna, and Krishna fulfilled that desire. If Krishna did not fulfill that desire for the jivas to be happy separate from him, he is not God. That what is the reason why Krishna is God. He fulfills everyone's desire. Whatever you wish, whatever you like. But you are responsible for your actions. If you act according to the teachings of the scriptures, of the spiritual masters, or the sadhus, then one can be properly situated. No more karma. But then as soon as we divert our attention only to fulfill our desires instead pleasing Krishna, then we are responsible for our activities. And therefore, the journey of the jivas in the material world started. But when was that? When was the time that the living entity come in contact with the material energy? We cannot trace the history. It's not like, we have date of birth. What is your date of birth, Prabhu?
1811.
Huh?
1811.
1811. November 18.
Yes.
See, your birth in this body, we know. But when did the soul, when did your jiva come in contact with the material energy? It's not 11, 18. There is no date. We cannot trace that. That's why it is called anādi. Anādi means beginningless. There is no trace. No one can trace when we come in contact with the material energy. And that's why also it says that we are tatastha shakti, marginal energy, which means we have come in contact with the material energy. We can remain in the material energy, but also we can get out of the material energy. We are given that option. The option will be up to us. What we want to choose. What do you want? You want to be happy? Happy in the material world? Or you want to be real happy? The happiness here is reflection of the real happiness. You can choose the path. Two paths. There's only two paths. There is nothing in between. You want to be materially happy? Fine. Krishna will give us all the facilities. You want to forget Krishna? Krishna will provide that facility also through Maya. This is Maya's trick, deluding energy to put us into illusion and to bind us. Fine. Or you want to disentangle yourself, become free from the cycle of repeated birth and death, attain moksha, go back home, back to Godhead. The process is there. Nor can anyone trace out the history of the Jivatma's manifestation from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is beginningless, anādi. Anādi. The Vedic literature confirms this. Na jñāyate mriyate ba vipaschit. There is in the Bhagavad-Gita also this verse. Na jñāyate mriyate ba kadachin. Naya budba babita ba nabhuya. Ajo nitya sasvatoyam purano. Nahanyate hanyamane sarire. The knower of the body is never born and never dies. He is full of knowledge. But right now we're full of ignorance, full of miseries, and our life is temporary. Asat, nirananda, and what's the other word? Achit. Full of ignorance. Achit. It's the opposite. It's supposed to be Sat Chit Ananda. Then it is Achit, Nirananda, and Asat. Because we are in this body, and we are identifying with this body. So therefore, the knower of the body, the Jiva, is never born, and he never dies. Having acquired the theoretical knowledge, let's do some practical in life devotional service. So this is what we've learned from the Bhagavad-Gita, the knowledge. But knowing the knowledge, but at the same time not applying the knowledge is theoretical. It has to be applied practically to experience what the Shastra is saying. If we just read and read, but then we don't rise up early in the morning, we don't chant, we don't read Bhagavad-Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, we don't do any service, we don't offer our food to Krishna, we don't tell others about Krishna, is that going to work? No, it's not going to work. It's like a jar of honey, and you want to taste the honey by licking outside the bottle of the honey. You are not experiencing the sweet taste of the honey. What are you going to do? You open the cover of the jar, put your finger inside, madhu, real, tasty, sweet. So it should be like this. We have to perform practical devotional service, and starting from hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. This is the best way how we can realize who we are and who is the Supreme Lord. So to gain knowledge about this, because knowledge has to be applied, it says here, is very important. It should be constant and unalloyed devotion to Lord Krishna. We can do service, but if our service is motivated and we want something in return for our own benefit, then it will not work also. Unlike Krishna says to Arjuna, you don't worry about the result. You just do your duty. You're a Satriya, you have to fight. You have to establish truth. You have to establish principles of religion. So in this way, you will be happy. Don't worry about the result. The result is already certain. All of these kings and the enemies on the other side will be killed. You just become my instrument. Actually, they already been killed by me, but you have to do your part. Essential quality, how to gain this knowledge, to understand who we are, that we are actually the jñeya. We are the knowable as living entity. Acharya Upasana, we have to accept a bona fide spiritual master. This is a must for those who wish to understand the supreme absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. Acharya Upasanam tad bhagyanartam sagurung iba avigachet. It is a must. If you want to be knowledgeable, then you must accept a teacher. Because on our own, we can open. Prabhupada gave an example. It's like you want to be a medical doctor, you can go to a library and you can read all the medical books, but you will not be acknowledged as a doctor, even knowingly all the in and outs of these books. You have to be connected under the disciplic succession, under a bona fide spiritual master who is a pure representative of the Supreme Lord. We have to develop different qualities like humility, amanitvam, ahimsa, non-violence, atma vinigraha, self-control, and arati jana samsadi, detachment from general mass of people. How do you do this? We have to meet them. Detach. It's like you tell others about Krishna, but then don't compromise our teachings. Don't compromise. It's like you can give your association to the non-devotees, but don't take their association. Otherwise, there is a possibility that you may be carried away and become contaminated by their sense-enjoying propensities. So we should focus on our goal, get the proper trainer, don't lose the Vaikuntha vision. The devotee has Vaikuntha vision. He knows where he's going. He knows what he has to perform. He knows where he came from. He knows what to avoid. He knows what he should be doing in order to attain that goal. Always. Vaikuntha vision. Get the proper trainer. That means get initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. It's like when we go in parikrama, we pass by here near the Tamal tree, Krishna Balaram tree. They have this gym. There's so you want to build your your muscles. You want to be like a Mr. India or Mr. Universe. Then you have to train up. You need a proper trainer. So we need to build up our spiritual strength. We need to acquire more and more knowledge to dispel the ignorance which is within our hearts, so that the reactions of our previous sinful activities will be burned up to the root. Then we need a spiritual master. And learn all of this with humility. Humility. Then definitely the success will be attained. So yes, the Supreme Lord as the Super Soul is also stated in the Vedic literature, Svetasvatar Upanishad, to be Pradhan Kshetragya Patir Gunesha, the chief knower of the body and the master of the three modes of material nature. Paramatma is present within everyone's hearts. He is the observer, He is the permitter, and He is also the controller. But ultimately, if the jiva would like to use his free will, then the Paramatma will say, okay, you don't want to follow me, then go ahead. As you like, do what you want to do. But don't hold me responsible for the reactions of your activities. You have to be responsible. You are responsible, whether you like it or not. And that's why we have this law of karma, that for every action there is an equal or opposite reaction. He is the knower of the body and the master of the three modes of material nature. And Paramatma is not touched by Rajagun, Tamagun, and Sattvagun. Only the jivas who are in the material world. We are bound by this material energy which is composed of these three modes of material nature. In the Smriti it is said, Dasa Bhuto Harer Eva Nanyas Vaiva Kadachana. The living entities are eternally in the service of the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed by Lord Chaitanya in his teachings. Therefore, the description of Brahman mentioned in this verse is in the relation to the individual soul, and when the word Brahman is applied to the living entity, it is to be understood that he is Vijnana Brahma, as opposed to Ananda Brahma. Ananda Brahma is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vijnana Brahma. That means we must know, we must understand. The Lord eternally understand who He is. But the jiva can be covered up. Therefore, we have to realize the nature of the soul. Means knowing oneself means knowing who am I and what is the nature of the soul. We are eternal, anādi. We don't expire even when this body is finished. The body is like a machine. Like even if you have the best car in the world, after some time, if you don't put oil, what's gonna happen? It'll just break down. It's not gonna work anymore. We're always subordinate to Krishna, always dependent. Ekala Isvara Krishna, Ara Sarva Bhittaya. Krishna is the only supreme, and everyone is subordinate. No one is equal or greater than him, and we are all his dependents. That means we depend on Krishna. It's not that Krishna depend on me. Whatever I say, Krishna, you follow me. I'm a devotee now, so Krishna, do this for me. It's not possible, right? Even if you're a pure devotee, you're always surrendered unto Krishna, whatever Krishna wants us to do. Beyond the cause and effect of this material world, the soul is not touched, cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be burned by fire, cannot be withered by the wind. It's eternal, everlasting. Is unborn. When the body dies, it still continues. But somehow, we are covered up by the modes of material nature. And therefore, it says that the soul is like the passenger of the chariot. And the horses are like the senses. And the rein is the mind. Is that the mind or the intelligence? The intelligence. The mind is the driver. The driver says, okay, I want to go there. But then if the rein, the intelligence is stronger, it doesn't want to follow the mind, that is possible. You will not reach there. So there is a hierarchy here. The senses has to be controlled by the mind. The mind has to be controlled by the intelligence. And the intelligence has to understand that he is not the body, that he is a spirit soul, and he is servant of the Supreme Lord. Is that there is a hierarchy. And therefore, he cannot be touched by the modes of material nature. Don't waste time in adjusting the furnitures of the guest house. Your eternal home, that means we're just guests here. Okay? You are in Vrindavan, you have a home here, but you are also guest here. You cannot say that, oh, I've been here before. This is my, of course, this is our eternal home. But for the materialists, they change their residence every 2 or 3 years. You go to the city, oh, no, this is not good. Oh, I have a higher salary now. Now I become a CEO. But you're changing your guest house. You're not here permanently in this body. And therefore, what is the use? You're missing. We should prepare for our eternal home. We should prepare to go back to our eternal home, where we don't have to come back again. So the start of the journey is now that we are attempting to perform bhakti. This is the start of our journey to return back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. So we stop here. I gave you a little bit of summary up to the 13th, from the 1st to the 13th. Then after that, whoever is the next speaker, he will talk about more of the super soul and so on. Okay, if you have any question, my dear devotees, we have a question, my Prabhu? Is there any microphone so they can hear this? They only give to me. This is not what we call damage. Material world getting damaged. We should fix it. And listen, my dear sir, camera wala. What's your name again? Huh? Okay. It's not for me. Whoever will sit down here, you try to get a garland. This is the proper way how to receive the speaker. For me, I don't need a garland. Used to be like that before. Mother Parvati. Okay? And there should be another mic. My request. For everyone. Yes, sir.
So, after Gurudev left body, is it required to take shelter or initiation
after...
Or one devotee can follow or...
Okay, I understand your question. I will repeat this just for the sake of those who listens in the internet or FM. Do we still have FM? Jai, all glories to all the... It's no? Where is it? Okay. All right, we'll try to sort this out. Okay, the question is, after the guru left the body, is it necessary for the disciple to take shelter of another guru? Or can he just continue following the principles? And? Or does he need to take diksha from anybody, from somebody else? Well, if your initiation should be, the initiation has to be bona fide. It should be, initiation means bona fide, right? If it's under the 4 sampradayas, if it's beyond that, then that is bogus. You know, let's say my Guru Maharaj leave his body. what shall I do? You can take shelter of another spiritual master. You don't need to take reinitiation because you're already initiated. Your initiation means your connection with Krishna has already been established. But you need a guide. Always. You cannot say, I know what to do. I'm all equipped with all the knowledge. The Shastra is there. And I listen to the lectures here and there. And therefore I can manage. No. No. But it says though that when the spiritual master is not able to bring his disciple going back home back to Godhead, Prabhupada says that I will come back to make sure that you go back home back to Godhead. He says that. That means Prabhupada, will come back. If Prabhupada says like that, I mean, according to the Shastra, yes, the spiritual master may come back or he will send his representative to take you back home, back to Godhead. But if Prabhupada says, I will come back, Mother Parvati was here. I had these exchanges with Mother Parvati because Prabhupada says, I will come back. That means Prabhupada will come back. But then in the Shastra also, I've read, or he will send his representative, spiritual master. So whether Prabhupada will come back or his representative, that's another thing. You always need a guide. If there is no Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru is a must. But Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, they are equal in potency. Shiksha Guru doesn't mean like, oh Prabhu, can you sweep that floor? How about washing the Lord's plate? We need someone to do the artik. Can you do the artik? No, that's not. No, Shiksha Guru is beyond that. Shiksha Guru also dispels your doubts. He gives you divine knowledge, divya gyan. It's like we chant every morning, divya gyan hride prakasito. That knowledge that is being given by pure devotees of the Lord cleanses our heart. Divya gyan hride prakasito. So, you need somebody. One may say, oh, but Prabhupada is there. He is my guide. But you need a representative of Srila Prabhupada to check on you. If you are going a little bit astray, even 1 degree, he will say, Prabhuji, go back to the truck. Because we don't know. Sometimes, false ego will always say, I know what I'm doing. Who are you to tell me? I chant my rounds, I come for the morning program, but it is more beyond that also. So fine, pray to Lord Balaram. He is the Adi Guru. He is the original spiritual master. Nityananda. Pray to Lord Nityananda or Lord Balaram to show you the proper path, how to meet that special personality who is also represented. Because Guru is one. You've heard of that before? Guru is one, but how come we have many gurus? A guru is one in principle. They will tell us all the same thing, whatever the Shastra says, but in details, we may differ, we may change. Okay? Yes, sir. Huh?
In some other class and discussion tonight, I wanted some clarification.
As long as I can understand.
In that class, the speaker told that Jiva don't have free will until he becomes devotee.
The Jiva doesn't have free will until he becomes a pure devotee. So what do you think? You have a free will. Whether you are in the bondage Manohar, I'll see you later, okay?
Yeah.
I have something for you. Not now, but Abhinay, Batme. Free will is there. You can go to Mathura if you like, instead of attending the class here. That's free will. You can choose Krishna or Maya. That is free will. Huh? But when you become a pure devotee, you don't have any more free will. Krishna is the driver. Right now, we are driven by our contaminated senses and mind, and impure intelligence or knowledge, and false ego. When you become pure devotee, whatever the Lord says, you do, even if it hurts. It's like when the gopis was asked by Narad Muni, Krishna is sick, and the cure is the dust from his devotee's lotus feet. They gave, take as much as you like. But the queens of Dwarka says, we don't want to go to Naraka, Loka. We don't want to go to the hellish planets. But the gopis, whatever Krishna desires, whatever is good for Krishna, they just give everything. It seems to be that there is no more free will for the pure devotee. Whatever is the will of Krishna, that's why he says, devotees are desireless, because their desire is according to what Krishna's desires are. For the impure devotees, practicing devotees, neophyte devotees, we don't act or we don't think like that. We still want to say, oh no, I want this. Devotees, they don't choose any service. Whatever service Krishna would want him to do, he will do. It's like in the beginning, neophyte devotee has so many conditions. Prabhuji, no, I will do this, but in one condition. Right? Of course, we have needs. There are two things, needs and wants. If there is a need for you to have in order to do your service, that should be also be fulfilled, the needs. But the wants is different. You want because you want to enjoy. The need means you need it so that you'll be able to fulfill your service. But the wants means either if he's not able to fulfill his wants, he's not be able to do, he's conditioned. So free will is there all the time, especially for the neophyte devotees, for everyone, those materialists. There is free will in everything. But for pure devotees, no. I don't think any free will for the pure devotees. They will only do whatever Krishna wants them to do. Huh? So it's the opposite. I don't know who's that sponsor of that program. Huh? Here only? Well, he is speculating. I'm sorry. Or maybe I'm speculating. You can tell me. It doesn't make sense. Anything else, Prabhu? Yes, sir.
Wonderful class. Once spiritual master.
Once?
Spiritual master has given sannyas to his disciple.
Yes.
So we should treat him as, of course, not as a god with us, but more than god with us, senior. And after spiritual master passes away, so we can have shiksha from him, subordinate.
If the spiritual master initiates a god brother into sannyas, and if the guru left his body, then the sannyas god brother can be also referred to if there is some questions or some difficulty. Yes, but the sannyas, God brother, is not on the same level. We will never be on the same level or equal with our guru. But at the same time, the sannyas ashram means he is the spiritual master of the 4 varnas and 4 ashrams. He is the leader, or he is like the father. But Prabhupada wanted all of us to be sannyas. Grihasta can also be sannyas. Sannyas means you are engaged 24 hours in Krishna consciousness. Okay, that is the meaning of sannyas. You're fully absorbed in Krishna. That means you're engaged 24 hours. But for grihastas, you have other responsibilities that you have to tend to, and therefore you may not be 24 hours engaged. But Prabhupada says there is a grihasta sannyas. There is a grihasta brahmachari. You've heard of that before? There is also grihasta sannyas. So, yeah, the sannyas is a very, we may say, a very responsible ashram, especially in Kali Yuga. Not everyone can take up to this process, but in spirit and in nature, everyone should have that spirit of renunciation, even in the Grihastha ashram. The Grihastha ashram is a preparation for becoming renounced. This is a learning ground for becoming detached. This is the ashram where you learn ultimately how to become detached, to prepare you for ultimate, before the end of life, to be detached. But Prabhupada says, if Grihastha is renounced, he doesn't need to take sannyas formally. He's already a sannyas, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He has 13 children, but he is Vaishnava Thakur. He is topmost Vaishnava. He's always absorbed in Krishna consciousness, even during his Grihastha ashram. So yes, if you have any doubts or questions, you can always approach your elder God brother, who is, elder means in maturity in Krishna consciousness, or have more realization, and they should be willing to help, because this is the duty of the sannyasi or in the sannyas ashram, to help others to make progress in Krishna consciousness.
And what if the spiritual master is fallen?
What if the spiritual master is fallen? So he's not a spiritual master.
So can disciple have another guru?
Yes, you can. He says in the Shastra, you can reject your guru. That is another class.
Yeah, big one.
Yes, big class. But guru means never fall down. He's guru. That means in the first place, he's not guru. Maybe a certain point he's following. This is what Prabhupada says. The only difference between you, that means his disciples, boys and girls, is that I will never fall down and you may fall down. But as long as the guru is following in the footsteps and instructions and directions from Srila Prabhupada, they will never fall down. But as soon as they deviate, then the fall down is there. So it's the same for all of us. As long as we are following Prabhupada's instruction, chant Hare Krishna, minimum 16 rounds, and follow the 4 regulative principles, do Vaishnava Seva, do preaching, then you will never fall down also. Because Prabhupada says falling down means it'll take millions of years again before one comes back. Because in the process there is no loss or diminution. Whatever one perform in bhakti, that is eternally credited. He may get stagnant, he may be like in limbo, he may be stationary for some time. But if you commit Vaisnava parad, then that's another thing, another class.
And what's small?
Small? This is big, huh?
I know one Maharaj, he says, I am Prabhupada disciple.
Yes.
No more in ISKCON, he would some Korea somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So how about him?
Well, there is what you call Prabhupada initiated, and there is Prabhupada disciple. Prabhupada initiated doesn't mean you are a Prabhupada disciple, because disciple means discipline. That means you're following the instructions of Guru Maharaj. Initiated, but after some time you fall away, then you're not a disciple anymore. As long as you are following till your last breath the instructions of your Guru Maharaj, you are a disciple of your Guru Maharaj. If you get initiated and next week you fell down, you went away somewhere, you're not a disciple anymore. You are initiated. Does it make sense?
I'm meeting him every day in the morning on the way to Parikrama.
Yes.
And he's waiting for me somewhere.
He's waiting for you.
Yeah,
Acha.
somewhere. Today is not. But he gives me class every day. Why are you using this colorful chanting bag?
It should be white.
It should be white only. It's the Paramahamsa. The Tulsi Mata is Paramahamsa.
But I'm not you say I'm not Paramahamsa. I'm still colored. Look at my bid bag. War against Maya. Okay?
Yeah.
You see? It's camouflage. It's like in the army, right? Because it's war against Maya. I'm not, out of Maya yet. So maybe one day I will wear a white. There you go. You can see it on the internet.
He said Tulsi Mata is not happy inside this color.
Acha. But I am happy, so no problem. Hare Krishna. We follow Srila Prabhupada, okay? Srila Prabhupada, K.